Hi guys, James from TBG here, and yeah, there's lots of Dreadnoughts. This is going to be a little bit of a rant. Well, not a rant. It's going to be a little bit of a probably philosophical musings. Basically, with 9th being 9th and everything moving at a particular pace with regards to, well, COVID-19 for a start, and new releases and when everything's scheduled to come out, etc, etc. We're not going to see any new codexes till October. They're leaking stuff all the time. Like the previous leak a few days ago was the Firstborn and Heretic Astartes now have 2 wounds. The Terminators have 3, which is very cool. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Firstborn is still not as good as Primaris with regards to combat with attacks and all that, but you know, I'm sure when we get the full Codex, we'll know more. But that, you know, being as we're in August, and that's coming out in October, still 2 months away. So, and that's the Imperial ones, Heretic Astartes, and that's 3 codexes. That's Chaos Space Marines, Death Guard, 1,000 Suns, Loyalist. You've got your Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and Death Watch, and Grey Knights have all got their own codexes. Are they all going to be released roughly the same time? Are we going to see what we did last time with 8th, when we're getting 2 to 4 codexes a month? I don't think so. I think COVID-19 will stop that happening. So, with regards to, I think I mentioned it in, it was either the Ave Dominus Nox or State of the Hobby, which I didn't do last week. And I'm probably not going to do that many, purely because only 30 people watched it. So, anyway. So, with that timeline involved, I personally don't see much point in continuing with any future projects that involve Space Marines, because we have no idea, we can't plan. I like to plan to a specific points limit, and I don't deviate from that. I know lots of people just go, well, you and and have massive collections. I don't have the space. I have more space than I did, but I don't have the space to have a massive collection. So all my armies will be 2K. That's as big as they'll go. 2K. So I need to plan. The current points that we have in the Munitorum book and Battle Scribe and whatever are wrong with regards to Space Marines, because we know they're going to cost more. We also know that certain weapons are going to cost more. Multi-melters are going to cost more because they're now heavy 2. Heavy bolters are going to cost more because they're now 2 damage, which again I wholeheartedly agree with, because multi-melters should be vehicle destroying weapons, and they are not. They have 1 shot and they miss all the time. That's why they're called multi-missers. Heavy bolters, especially in a fluff, can chew apart a Space Marine very convincingly. Now with 2 damage, they can, which is brilliant. And obviously with all the extended ranges of bolters and flamers and heavy flamers, what have you, all the points changes. All the points are going to change, and it affects it. And it actually affects every one of my armies in one way or another. The sisters have flamers and multi-melters and heavy bolters. My guard has flamers, heavy bolters, and what have you. My Death Guard has bolters, and then you've got the chainsaw thing as well, which led me to think that So I'm going to go tangent, left, right, left, right, left, right, this. And if you've given up by now, then thank you for listening so far. But anyway, so I will get to these guys. Just a minute. Sorry, this is a really long sort of preamble. Which led me to think that my Night Lords, which I've already done the list to 1500 points with the idea of expanding it to 2k. Pretty much every single model in that box is going to go up by anything up to 5 points, depending on what it's armed with. So that puts probably another 250 points on that. Okay, that's a bit excessive. 100 points. Sorry, maths. So put about another 100 points on that, which cuts down the amount of models that I can add to it to make it more viable. I then thought, I've got Forge World stuff in there. Well, I didn't. I've got one Forge World thing, which is the Leviathan Dreadnought that you can see in front of you that I have completed, and we'll have a look at that in a minute. And we also had this guy here, the undercoated one that I put spikes and skulls all over. I then decided that the Night Lords will be a pure Games Workshop army, no Forge World whatsoever, just like the rest of my armies, just the rest of my 40k armies. And the Forge World stuff will go into a Heresy Force. So I've done what I normally done, and I found loads of stuff on eBay and a couple of bits off from Forge World itself with regards to a second Horus Heresy army, which is sitting at 2k, and that's it. It's not going to change from 2k because it's just a nice little army just to wheel out for a small quick game of Heresy. If I want a bigger game, I've got my Ultramarines. It's fine. So that's what I decided to do. For some reason, I had 2 of these plastic Contemptors lying around. So what I decided to do was do a bit of cut and shut, hack and slash. And with this guy, as you can see, there we go. I cut off all the spiky bits. Come on, focus, please. Yeah, cut off all the spiky bits, and I've made him into a close combat dreadnought by pulling off the carries and adding the second fist onto him, which works better because he's in a running pose. He will get filled and re-undercoated. Then I got the second one, and I was going to be clever, and I was going to cut this guy in half, have him at a jointing angle with the carriers pointing like he's shooting down a flyer. Then what did I do? Instead of cutting from the front, I cut from the back and ended up cutting off part of the top of the legs and damaging the detail work there, just because it was late at night and I wasn't paying attention. So he then turned into this more static pose, and obviously there's green stuff on the legs because I had to fix that. So, yeah, so now we have some anti-air, and we have some running at hitting stuff. They're going to be for a third Heresy Legion, which is going to be Dark Angels, which turns out that the next book for Heresy Crusade is Night Lords and Dark Angels. This is very cool. So I'll get that book and I'll start expanding some Dark Angel stuff to 2k. Just 2k. Then if I want to, if the new models are great, I think, well, I know the new Night Lord Tartarus Terminators, they look really nice. So, with regards to 30k Night Lords, I then picked this guy up, which is the official 30k Night Lords Contemptor Dreadnought with a plasma cannon, because all the other cannons were out of stock. He was going to have twin autocannon, but they're out of stock, and I didn't want carries, and this was the next nicest one I liked. I wasn't going to have heavy bolters or any other ones which seem a little bit lackluster. So then we have this guy. This is an absolutely amazing model. This is probably one of my top 3 favourite Forge World Contemptor Dreadnoughts. The other one being, actually most of them are actually really good, but particularly I like the Death Guard one, just because it is just so simple. It's just so, it fits the Death Guard perfectly. And the Word Bearers one, not the Tainted one, which is awful. It's an awful model with awful rules, but the Contemptor Dreadnought with all its hexagraphical markings on and chaos script all over it, it looks fantastic. It looks particularly good with twin autocannon. So yeah, they're my top 3 Contemptor Dreadnoughts. So I've got him for my 30k Night Lords. I do like Dreadnoughts. So then we have this guy here. In 40k, he was knocking on the door, whoops, to almost 400 points. He was 360 points, which is close to 400 than it is 300, I admit. There you go, with this particular loadout. And in 30k, he's a little bit less. Not by much. I think he's 320 odd. But that's purely because of the weapons that are on him. And there are certain people in the community that think Leviathan Dreadnoughts are overpriced. I can kind of see that, to be perfectly honest with you. But I love Leviathan. I love Dreadnoughts full stop. Yeah, so he is now going to be in the 30k army. I've got some other odds and sods that I've washed and put together, and I'm trying to get hold of some Mark IV Marines on eBay, but they're quite hard to get hold of. Yeah, so, and they've got some decals on there from eBay as well. So yeah, he is going to be in 30k. So all this stuff here is now 30k. All lovely 30k. They're going to be Dark Angels. They're clearly Night Lords because, you know, they're Night Lord specific. So, I guess, my God, it's almost 12 minutes long. I guess what I'm trying to say with this preamble is I'm still not gripped by 9th. I think the length of time we're going to have to wait until everything is sort of there is probably going to be too long. I have a lot of other work to do as it is anyway. I'm looking at a massive pile of goblins. I've done half of them. I'm doing this lot in between, have for a break, because I have a large amount of goblins to do for a client. And I wasn't going to do them all in one hit, because that's just insane. So I'm busy building stuff and planning stuff. But 40k, I'm losing interest. I mean, I know I said in the previous video that when 6th dropped, I lost interest for, you know, almost, well, the entirety of 6th, half of 7th, because it was just awful. I know people probably disagree with me, but it was awful. And the way it turned out in the end, that horrible bloated mess, is exactly the way 8th turned out, with a horrible bloated mess, where I think someone worked out that he wanted to do an Imperial army with a little bit of everything, like a soup army, just for fun. You needed 33 books just to do a fun soup army in 8th. Not that I agree with soup, that's a different matter entirely. I hate soup armies. I think all armies should be pure, but that's just me. I'm an old man and I'm set in my ways, and that's what I like. Okay, no arguments. Anyway, so I guess at the end of that little ambly ranty thing, my 40k adventure is on hiatus for the moment. I've been doing this for a long time. It's not the first time this has happened. I'm pretty sure it won't be the last. I'm going to wait for 9th to properly drop. And by properly drop, I mean Codex is dropping. I know we have the rulebook. I know we have the starter sets, which are awful, by the way. I was not expecting that. It's just, I was never going to get Indomitus, but I thought the starter sets would be a little bit more variety. Anyway, I'm going to go off on a tangent again. Yeah, so we've got all that. We've got the rules. We've got starter sets. We've got the promise of Codex in October. We've got Get You Buy Points. We've got FAQs. We've got the app, which I still haven't managed to get on. Don't know if I can be asked to get onto it, to be perfectly honest with you all. I'd rather just get a pen and paper out and bish bash bosh army. So I guess after all that, look at my lovely Dreadnoughts. As usual, guys, please check the links in the description to Patreon and our sponsors and affiliates. Please don't click on the White Shark Gaming one because it's not trading anymore. And the Goblin Gaming one will send you straight through to the shop where you should get 20% off, which is very cool. There's also Patreon and a few social media stuff down there as well. And if you're still with me after almost 17 minutes of me just rambling incoherently on, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys next time.